Hey, and good morning out there. This is a sign. Most importantly, it's a gift from the heart. I like everything about this, especially the scent. Good morning. Alright, I wanted to first start by saying a lot of these videos are not just me sharing revelations and teaching everyone. They're like a documentary or some shit about my spiritual journey, because we're all got one, all right? And just when you think you're sitting on top of the mountain, and another mountain rises up right in front of you, and I got a pretty good level of self-awareness, and so I can see a lot of my journey is about surrendering, all right? A lot of it's about acceptance. And if anyone's worried about how I'm doing, thank you for your concern. Thank you for thinking about me. But last thing I want to do is get the world worried about about me, all right? There's a million other things on this world that's more important than me. And spiritual journey is not easy. A lot of it can be. Times we feel like we got this shit down, right? A lot of the times. But some of the time it gets our goat. So if you're down in the trenches getting your ass handed to you, don't feel bad. God's there. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Or a little bit about it. Who knows what God will have me say. But I say this. This is how God always talks with me. I was in a place called Birmingham at the Summit. That's a really nice shopping center, you know. And I was sitting there overlooking the balcony in my last exciting adventure that I broadcasted. And I was asking God to please give me a different spiritual path. A lot of spiritual journey is about refinement. Well, you can't get a gold bar unless you put some worthless metals essentially into a refinery and heat them up and then get the slag out of the way, right? You can't have a diamond without pressure on a piece of coal. And I recognize this and I understand this. And sometimes Kurt kicks and screams in ways that aren't so pleasant when he does it in those ways. Because anybody who has watched some of the shit that I do can tell you, Kurt has a very high threshold for pain. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I keep on referring to myself in third person. Yeah, I'm aware I'm doing that. It's like a habit I formed when I was making a joke one time, and it kind of stuck. I have to fix that, because that is... I don't know. It's getting out of hand. All right, so the way that God talks to me in a lot of ways, communicates with me, is really cool. So, one minute I'm at the summit, standing over a balcony, admiring creation of God, and I'm talking about, Lord, please, 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 give me another way. Give me a different path to get on. And this is a recurring theme, because when I was a mechanic, is what a lesson was trying to be taught to me then, Kurt. Sometimes you can't control everything. Sometimes you've just got to surrender to the situation and let it happen. There's nothing wrong with Surrendering isn't like giving up, but in a technical way it is. Giving up, when I think someone says giving up, I feel like they're throwing things and they're like I've had enough. I can't keep going. And they don't really want to quit, but they rage quit. You eat thy words sometimes. But that's not the point. I'm at the summit 1 minute and I'm overlooking the balcony and I'm just enjoying nature while I'm also venting. Venting is important. If that's I drove for years and years and years. That means that primary mode of expression was through my mouth. That's why it runs on its own sometimes. Because when you are bumping down the road, and I've never heard this before until it dawned on me, as you're bumping down the road in, like, say, a FedEx truck or a mail truck or whatever it may be. I never worked at the post office, but I want to include everybody. Y'all get the point. When I bumped down the road in the FedEx truck, I didn't realize that, hey, a vibration, I didn't know any of this stuff then. And so what that would look like is I'm picking a fight with everybody who can get in ear range of me, and I'm sitting here going, people are being abused under these damn working conditions, and very well so, because a lot is expected of those guys. A lot of it is expected, and, you know, it's a shame that people are getting taken for over a dollar bill. They being used like they're consumables. But it was more about I'm bumping down the road and getting charged up and then release. It's like a capacitor. It can only hold so much before it bursts or it gets to release. And so 1 minute I'm at the summit overlooking the balcony and I'm praying essentially, and Daniel said pray in a secret closet somewhere, and if that's your thing, go ahead. But I've found that the more people that hear it, the more people, there's something going on here on an energetic level. And it, you know, and besides that, if people know how you feel, they can pray with you. Don't sit there and do that crap where you shove it inside. And if you don't like the way it's expressing, work on it. Believe me, the last thing I want to do is give people the impression I'm whining. But sometimes I whine. And sometimes I'm going to sit there and go, quit whining. Because it's okay to vent and to whine. But if it becomes a personality trait or a habit, essentially we become crybabies or some shit. We gotta fix that. That's making us whine. We got to do something about it. We can't sit here and have a big old cry-a-thon, all right? You get the point. It's like moderation or some shit, right? Because everything inside of you is valid. Your feelings, and the way feelings talk to us is through like thoughts. And the feelings are real and they're not going anywhere. But they talk to us in thoughts mostly. Now some people hear words and vocal thought. I'm hearing more and more of those as I go on and I walk with them, but usually it's visual thoughts, like images and things of that nature. So I'm sitting over there, over the balcony, having a pity party. And sitting there, Lord, please give me another spiritual path. I can't do anything about this. I've come to the point, I don't know what else I can do. And then I get in the car, and I drive home, and there's a package by my mailbox. And I thought it was my gloves that I ordered that got lost in transit that I already got refunded from, and I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to have to give these people $30 more after they just gave it back, because Amazon does things like that. Then you call customer service lines and you get people who aren't so empathetic or sympathetic. It's an awful experience. And no, not necessarily having American call centers and things will fix that. having sympathetic and empathetic call centers will fix that, to give you like customer service, right? Give you like good customer service. All right. It's like when you get on the phone with some of them people, by the time you get to them after dealing with the AI that can't understand you, the computer, you're in the mood to yell at something because the computer has made it so awful. Because it can't understand what your problem is. And it's like it's almost trying to tell you what your problem is when it gives you a limited options and you're like, none of these match up to what my problem is, and it won't just give me a human being that can understand what I'm saying. And anyway, so let's try this story again. Pull the cord on the lawnmower again. So, I'm at the summit. I'm overlooking that balcony, and I'm basically praying. And I watch my videos after that because I feel like I don't have mirrors in my house. That's another story for another day. But I come back and watch these videos, and I learn something whenever I'm hearing myself talk, and I'm looking right at myself. And so, good grief. There. Good grief. So I'm at the summit, overlooking the balcony. Overlooking the trees and the highway and everything else. I'm sitting there saying, Lord, I need your help. Not so much financially. I would love to be able to just pay. I don't even have real debt. I have under $10,000 worth of money problems. That's nothing. It's everything. Spiritual journeys, it's like strapping a mountain to your back, but it's not, because you realize something. The mountain has always been strapped on your back. You're trying to get it off, and for some reason when you become aware of it, there's that knee-jerk reaction at first, and then you can deal with it, right? So I'm out at the summit overlooking the highway and the interstate and the little road in front of it. And I'm praying, and I'm asking God for help, and I'm asking God, please, Lord, consider this. Please give me a different path, because this one's got something that I can't do anything about. You can't do anything about another person. I'm sorry, guys. You can help them if they come to you. I'm not saying don't try if they ask for help. What I'm telling you is that always operate under this pretense that you can't change someone and you can't help someone like that. Only they can fix the underlying issue. You can put your hands in their hand, and you can feel energy moving back and forth, and you can pull the emotion right out of somebody. And if you're grounded, it'll go right through you into the ground. And it's energy at the end of the day. But what made that type of energy, sad energy or happy energy, and you can even do this without touching them if you get good at it, you expand and contract. It's like you're reaching out and pulling in, reaching out, pulling in. But what made the person feel that way originally, I feel like that's theirs to know about and discover, and they kind of heal that at this moment in time. That's how I feel. Now, God walks with me every single day, and every single day He makes Kurt better than he was the day before, and He helps Kurt grow. He helps me grow. Things I couldn't do yesterday, I wake up and I'm all of a sudden, it's like, hey, I got a new trick. I got a new gift from the Lord. And so when we go up and down also emotionally and whatnot, our bodies, really our nervous systems and all of that in a mechanical sense, is learning how our chemistry and whatnot is learning how to operate differently and regulate differently, and we get to be in full control of that also. There's a little bit of a learning curve in figuring things out. I'm not gonna lie and say, yeah, you just click it like a switch. After you, it's something about after you get good at it and understand how to do it, it kind of works like that. And so I'm at the summit again for the 60th time for Kurt Wanders into the Wilderness again. Hey, the wilderness ain't so bad. They should have set up shop there and smiled. and so I'm overlooking the balcony at the summit. There's cars going down the road, interstate, everything, and I'm praying. I said, God, if you could you give me another spiritual path? And then I got home and there was the package. I thought it was the gloves. And then I went up the hill here, up the mountain as I affectionately call it. And I opened it without even looking at the shipping label at first. And I see a picture frame. And it's the picture that's on my wall now. And I'd be damned if that ain't the timing of God. Bravo, Lord. You did it again. You always stealing Kurt's heart. You always steal my heart, Lord. Every single time you do it. Just when I need you, there you are again and again and again. There you are again and again and again. So, it was from my twin, if you didn't get the hint, wink, wink. God said, you think I did signs and wonders in Egypt in Moses' time? Watch this. Hold my beer, Kurt. I'm about to show you a real miracle. Began that little part of the journey kicking and screaming and praying for salvation, praying, change something, Lord. Change it, please. Into the night on my knees thanking God for everything that God does. You go and save the best for last. So guys, God has timing. And if you are undergoing the spiritual awakening, the Kundalini rising, whatever words we may choose to express it and describe it, we all have limits. And it can all be hard. But the great thing is, once we become aware of something, we can heal it, and awareness itself brings it to our attention. And if we look at it from this perspective, that it's reminding us of something about that feeling, we can go back and we can look at it and process it and thus heal it, resolve it. That's what that's called, resolution, resolving it. And Don't feel bad if you cry. Yeah, I've got probably half a dozen videos where I'm having waterworks. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you get angry and you throw your coffee at the ground. Apologize to the ground after you're done. I haven't thrown mine at the coffee. I don't do the physical altercation shit. All right, there's reasons for that. You don't need to get physical with one another. All right, we can hurt each other seriously. All right. Make friends, not enemies. But if you've got an enemy, pray for them. You can't help how anyone else sees you, but you can choose how you want to see them. And God will provide for us all, and He understands. He made these emotional systems and these nervous systems and everything else, and God already knows that they're not I don't know what the word. He knows how difficult it can be for us, and that's why He is infinitely merciful, and that's why He's infinitely compassionate, and that's why He has unlimited, unconditional love for us on this earth. This is a one-way street. Can't go backwards. Can only keep going forwards. Forget your clutch pedal. Forget your brake pedal. Stand up on the throttle pedal and give it hell. And don't be... Let's look at God's creation for a minute. Look at that. And don't worry if it doesn't look so great as you're doing whatever the hell it is you're doing. Don't even feel disgraced when you fall down. Give back up. It's all right to fall down. It's all right to be embarrassed. All right to feel all the feelings you feel, and that's all right, whatever that I feel, how I feel as well. And I wanted to talk about vibrations in cars and vehicles and all that again. I wanted to also say some other things about some headlights that we might be experiencing on these highways nowadays. Everything's energy, guys. I don't have to give you a physics lesson. That's what the spirit and the soul wants to do, though. Well, use thy mouth and continue. But everything's energy, guys. And a human body can be looked at like a battery. Be very simple about it. A body can be looked at and seen as a battery. And energy sources, even as I'm standing next to this tree, and even in this coffee, there is energy. And as I'm walking through now, when you're around trees, it's like this, like I am. I can walk in the middle of this forest in a dense part of it, and it's just like I become full of love and positivity and pleasantness if I hang out there with the trees and the plants and everything. And then I walk out of the forest into a clearing spot, and a few minutes later, kind of regulates and drops down. All right? Our systems, as we undergo the spiritual process, the refinement and the purification process of the spirit, the path to liberation and enlightenment, but I think enlightenment isn't the correct word because it just means light inside, and that's a state. Because we're all energy and light is energy, we're already enlightened from the get-go. So I believe liberation is the correct terminology. And beyond that, the words aren't really important. It's the vibrations at the end of the day. And so because there's energy in everything, and one more thing, we're experiencing a lot of powerful emotions in this process. As we let go, we're becoming charged up, and more energy is able to travel through us. All kinds of things, like I believe on the more eastern side of the world, they refer to them as nadis, but it's really spiritual pathways similar to veins and circulatory systems and stuff. Spiritual veins are being grown. New connections are being made mechanically. All kinds of things are happening, and we're experiencing large emotions and basically relearning how to live. We've died. We've been born again. We're being resurrected in this process. That makes sense. And so everything's energy, from this coffee to the colors on this cup to the trees that share it with me and share it with us all, and the plants and the soil even, and the sunlight and the colors all around. Where there's colors, there's the presence of light, and in the light, and light is but photons, or solar energy essentially as we know it, or just energy without the adjectives. Because energy is just energy. How it's filtered is what determines how it is and how it appears and how it's expressed and all those things. But and I'm going to tell you something now. I'm not like, go be an Amish person. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that maybe we can have some new technology or new ways to wire cars and appliances and things that lower vibration so that we can still have the technology, but we can cope in our environments and live with them easier. Because once this stuff kicks off, when you get to a certain point, you just start pulling energy in from around you. And it's all natural, and it's just like that. You expand and contract all around you. And it's kind of like, it's very in sync with your heart when it's happening. And if you're like me and you hear that, you go, well, that doesn't, you kind of get a little discouraged at first until you understand a little bit deeper. So don't get discouraged if you think, well, this is all just a phenomenon the heart is producing. No. It's easiest to understand when I say it like that. All right, so don't get discouraged, because that's not all it is. I don't know everything it is, but I know that we're connected to everything around us, even before we awaken. But when we awaken, it's like it goes into hyperdrive. All right, and so, and there's a process. When you wake up and you start feeling energy at first, it is like you're a newborn. You've been born again and you're being resurrected to live divinely, so to speak, and real close to God, in other words. And God is wanting to walk the earth through you and with you. God is not a parasite in any way. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, because all that stuff you thought you were, it's going to leave anyways. It's going to leave anyways, and you're still going to be that same awareness you've always been. You're not going nowhere. You're just going to grow, and God's going to be in you and with you, and you'll be in union with the Lord. So don't be afraid if you got weird thoughts that say, well, I'm going to disappear, I'm being hijacked. No, that's not how that is. The way we talk in these circles, it kind of can make people feel like, I'm going to disappear at some point. You always been there. You won't disappear. Just the parts of you that you believed, that you thought, that seemed real, they're going to go away. But you're going to still be here. You're still going to have emotions. You're still going to have consciousness. You're still going to be, because you've always been. And so, I'm not one of those people that look at like science, and I also don't believe everything science says, because there's reasons you shouldn't. So I'm trying to understand what I mean. I'm not a primitive human being. I'm somebody who says technology is here. We can use our unlimited creativity and our intellect and all those things to make it, to solve the problem. So if you're super energy sensitive and you're feeling vibrations everywhere, there's a way to dampen it. There must be. And some cars don't vibrate as badly as other cars. So, but it's still happening. Because where there's vibration, there's evidence of energy there. And there is energy there where there's vibration. So, Let me go stand by a much older tree. I'm kind of sucking the life out of these little bitty saplings. They deserve a chance too, right? There we go. Hello. How are you? Good morning. So, anyways, as we're going and we're super sensitive to energy and it's coming into us, and at some point you'll feel people walk up behind you, and you won't just know because you get that, like, because someone's behind you. Everyone's got a little bit of situational awareness. You will start to feel like energy coming into you from that person, especially if they're not very grounded and you are. Start to get random emotions out of everywhere, and all of a sudden, you feel, well, I'm sad. All of a sudden, I'm dismal. Some of that is regulation. So just until you it's something you get a feel for. It's like, yeah, you can put a vacuum gauge on a carburetor and you can tune it with the pressure reading and all that stuff. But come on, man, you get a feel for how you turn that screw. Come on, you know how it sounds, how it smells, what it's supposed to be when you turn them screws. Fuel in that air screw and mix it together. Mechanics, modern day wizards, right? When they become modern day wizards, they become automotive technicians. So as we're vibrating down the road, going over bumps, going over unlevel surfaces, going in whatever potholes and everything, all that stuff is putting energy into you through the vibration, and in force that causes that, there's a tremendous amount of energy. And when everything's bolted down on the car, except for you, and you start to feel yourself shaking in any way, you're taking in charge. You're charging up. And I did like a lot of driving jobs for years at a time and everything, off and on. And I before I knew better, I couldn't do better. Now I know better, and I understand the phenomenon. Getting shook up for 8 hours a day, getting charged up. Belly Welly, quit staring. Go down there and play with Belly Welly. She was great. She was extremely intense, and it was getting my attention. That's what I'm talking about. It's push and pull. It's the dance of life, alternating current. And it's available to everybody. It's like when you see somebody doing that and you start to attention focus on them, it really is like that. They're all putting their energy into you, and you can feel it in levels that before you're aware it's happening, and really start to practice feeling it. It's doing it. It's doing it then. And that's why people they're like, oh my God, why are you looking at me? That's why they're like that. That's why they're like that. I came back over here to the same tree and stopped. Hello, how are you? The star of the show, everybody. Hi, how are you? Beautiful. Beautiful tree. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All of you are. With love, everyone. I love all of you trees. And so as we're bumping down the road, and we're getting all that vibration and energy coming, we're vibrating, and that energy's charging us up. You do that for 8 to 10 hours a day, or an hour one way, and you get to that point where you're getting there. It's a good sign. It means that, like, hey, the process is working, man. And that's a beautiful thing. It can also be trying to fit into the modern world that we got choices in at the moment, how we have lived for decades of our life and gotten used to. All that stuff's about to change. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. If you're afraid, pray. Pray when you can't do anything else. And talk to God besides when you want something, God loves to hear from us. We talk to Him, we tell Him what's going on. God might just appear in our life and do some intervention and some interfering in in an endearing way, Lord. And he might come and visit with us in our personal lives and improve everything. And we start to learn one another in another way of looking at it, an easier way to see it. And, you know, it's a wonderful thing. So I think you got the idea about the vibrations in cars, and as you got your radio on too, all those vibrations. Now in music stimulates us in different ways. It's like a musical alphabet. It's got like seven notes to it. There's like 7 energy centers or seven chakras, and if you'll feel them as music is playing, you feel different vibrations being hit up and down your body in different places. Well, if something's inside of those chakras, they're getting triggered. So if you got some stress or something, or a bad time or bad experience stored in there, guess what? You hear that? It's triggered you inside. Other things, how other things work. You kind of start to feel like a vibration from triggers and where they're coming from, and it gives you a hint how to what the problem might be, and then you start asking yourself. You say, "Can you sit down with me and share with me what's going on?" And you'll start to have thoughts about something, and you might remember, yeah, that involved around that area. You know, that involves around that area, that emotion stuck in that area, that feeling stuck in that area. And then we go back and we can say, where did it begin? And then more thoughts may come to us, or you might have a memory of some kind. They're all thoughts at the end of the day in my eyes, because they appear in our mind to us, so they're technically a thought. And we can say, that one's a memory thought. That one's a obsessive thought. That one's intrusive thought. That one's a peaceful, happy thought. Things of that nature. And so, when you're having emotions, if you have them all day, if you walk around with personality traits, because those spring up, a large part of those, I'm sure, are emotions and our behaviors and all those things, of course. You need to figure out why you're doing something and what's going on, or how, or why. And you got to learn yourself. You got to master thyself. And even when we're by appliances, if they're sitting there vibrating to pissing back, oh Lord, took my toboggan right off my head. Thank you for holding that for me. You're fantastic. Can I have it back? Thank you. I love you. All right. So, no harm, no foul. It went right back on my head, right? So appliances, vibrators, everything that you got power running through is putting out some kind of vibration or field, and it's interacting with us. This world, I'm gonna give you an example. Like, okay, so at one point, what I read, a study was performed one time, right? And it was about 2 groups of essentially monkeys. They put one group on one island, and they had another group on another island. Well, as soon as one group learned something on an island, the other group started doing it too. So I could originally argue from my point of view, if it was me having to defend my point, that it's possible that because monkeys are the same species, it's possible that they just pick things up at the same time because mechanical functionality and how things are designed. But knowing how Wi-Fi exists and wireless stuff and energy transfers memory and data and information, and that's all that really internet is and how it works, I have to say there's more to it than that. I have to say that I believe it's, in the best way I can explain it, it's like we all got an antenna. Every living thing has an antenna. And we're putting out a frequency or a vibration as a result of our internal states, the large part, what we're thinking, how we're feeling. That's why if you've thought it, you've done it. And don't throw a rock at yourself. Just work on it. All right? If you throw a rock at yourself, you'll be too injured to work on it and thus ultimately resolve the problem. So don't guilt yourself down. Don't shame yourself down. It's all right. It's all right to realize you made a mistake. It's all right to even feel bad. But to feel good, we got to resolve it. We got to heal it. And so there's numerous ways to heal. I share the way it works for me and what I do because it works for me. I swear by it. But what may work for you may be a little bit different. All right? And so I wish I had them gloves. Every time my hands start getting cold, I think back to them gloves that never made it back to this house. They were so cool looking too. All right, so that's why when we go near somebody who's got a really warm, welcoming feeling to them, we can feel it. And we say something like, he's got a nice vibe, or she's got a nice vibe. Some people come near Kurt and they're like, that guy, I don't know if I want to stand near there too much. He's in one of those moods today. Well, be that as it may, we can only do better until we know better. You know, we can only do what we can do until we know better, and then we can do better. And that depends, you know, on the situation. There's some value in every way we can feel. I'm sure there is. But be however you want to be. And doing that means you have to be yourself. To be yourself, you have to understand why you make the choices you make, why you feel the way you feel, why you do the things you do. Only you can answer those questions. Everybody else can give you some tips on how to get to that information. Everybody can give you some guide signs to get you to that information, I'm sure. There's a mirror all around us. And when we see something and we feel something, like say even this root here, if I felt something towards there, that's a trigger. And that means I need to sit down and maybe meditate with that in mind. And pretty soon thoughts relating to that will appear. And I can say, okay, this is why that makes me feel that way. I forgot that I felt that way. Now I remember. Now what maybe I can apply like some forgiveness to it, some love to it. Maybe I can just say, we can't even be together no more, thought. I gotta let you go. Maybe we can do things like that. Say some kind of affirmation. And we'll feel it move after a while. After doing this for a while, it seems the energy in me never stops moving. Everything was a trigger one time, and as I heal up, what triggered me every second, it stops having a feeling. I can then enjoy nature again. I walk around, I got the wisdom that and the knowing and the understanding of why that was. And then more important still, I have the tools so if it happens again, I can always heal myself. And magic powers are awesome. The powers in faith and believing and leaning on God are freaking awesome. But listen to me. Listen to me very closely when I say this next part. There is nothing quite like feeling good and being yourself. That's a superpower in comparison. And so, as we go, it's important to realize something. That how we feel based on something outside, that's just a trigger, and it's inside of us that's the problem. And if we feel bad, it must be a problem. It wouldn't be no problem if there wasn't no problem, right? This forest is freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. This is the most beautiful Beautiful place I've ever graced with my presence that I can think of and know of. And thank you, God, for it. However that may have come about. Thank you, Lord. Because it does not go unnoticed. So that's really all I got to say. I'm going to start talking in circles, and you done heard everything I got to say today. You don't want to hear it again. Go hit the rewind button if you want to. Go restart the video if you want to hear it again. Beautiful day, guys. I hope you're enjoying it. Hope everything goes your way. Thank you, Lord, for the good and the bad. With love, I love you. Amen. See ya.